Well done, Sonny Bell. Would you believe it started raining once again, which is a lovely way in which to finish what's been a glorious tour. Will has come to join us.
Yes.
I'm going to throw you the question.
Can I just interrupt super quick?
do.
Because I was on Stan a few minutes ago, and honestly, they've started already. They said this is the tour that the Lions stole.
So one of my questions was going to be how loud are the if, buts and maybes going to be, and you've already gone there.
Man, they are trouble. I was like, what are you talking about? Whoa, did I just watch a different series? No, they were fabulous tonight. I mean, thoroughly deserved their win. But that's the agenda. Wallabies, they've always been like that since Alan Border and Glenn Chappell and those boys on the cricket field. Yeah. They give it hard.
Yeah.
We look at the series as a whole, and I think Lions way better in game 1. Wallabies way better in game 3, and game 2 is a flip of a coin. So sometimes it lands on you, sometimes the decision goes through. But that's, I think, again, we go back to it. But we stood here after Brisbane. We said that's not what a Lions series should be. We're standing here now saying how special it is, and Gat's saying how important the Lions series is and the Lions tours are to the world rugby. Can only echo that as well.
Just very quick, would any of you agree with Stan Sport in saying that this is the tour the Lions stole, or no. You're comfortable the Lions were the better side over all three? Warren.
I think comfortably the Lions were better, but from an Australian point of view, you've got to talk up your own team, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. That they're talking up the Wallabies. They want to get support. They want to get people behind the game. They want to think about the World Cup, and this has been incredible, this Lions series, and it's been so important for Australian rugby. They've really been probably in the last few years a little bit in the doldrums, and they've got to get some positivity back into the game here in Australia, and so talking themselves up, I think, is a good thing to do.
Quelle surprise. Just answer me the question around Australia now and the grand scheme of things, because we've got obviously New Zealand inked in 4 years' time. I'm about to blow away like Mary Poppins. In 4 years' time, it's inked in New Zealand, and then everything's up for grabs once again. Have Australia answered the question over whether the Lions continue to tour Australia as a sole entity over the last 6 weeks?
Yeah, I think so, and I think you were going to ask the question right at the start. You know, where does this series win rank in Lions tours? And I think we probably don't know, because there's not been many tours that I can think of where before the tour started, the Lions were touring the country that were ranked 8th in the world. So usually you go down top, world champion, second, third, and they would normally be that for the last, I don't know how many years.
Do you know, I've actually got the details. 97, 2001, 2009, 17 and 21, they've played the world champions.
So, and I think we saw enough in the first half last week, we saw enough today from the Wallabies. We weren't sure what the reaction would be from a grieving Wallabies after how they lost last week, but that's a team that I would get behind and support.
Okay.
They show up in week 3 when there's nothing to play for, really, other than pride. So does this team go on to a rugby championship and cause upsets? Does it go to get Bledisloe Cups like Tim Horan saying? Do they go to a home World Cup in a couple of years? And you can look back at maybe these last few weeks and say this is maybe where this team, the birth of this team began.
Okay. And I think we probably will only know that after the rugby championship, because if they go to Ellis Park and win, or get done by 30, 35 points, which either result is possible, that probably gives us a bit of an indicator of how the last 3 weeks have gone as well. And if they end up finishing top or winning the rugby championship or finishing bottom, then it'll give us a better indicator.
Can I just say, we've thrown a lot of plaudits, and rightly so, at the players. They're the ones out there. Andy Farrell, the man who's led it. But the likes of Simon Easterby, Richard Wigglesworth, John Dalziel, Andrew Goodman, Johnny Sexton. Just a word on not just the backroom stuff, but also the medical stuff, because they've not lost many on an attritional tour.
Yeah, I was going to pick up, you're ahead of me there in terms of the whole organisation was absolutely slick, 5-star, the best of the best, and thankfully we saw great pictures of James Ryan. He looks like he feels okay. The coaching staff, that's why I wanted to ask Ollie Chesham. It's always often about the players, but it's so difficult to win, and Warren's one of them, and Geach is another, and Andy Farrell's now right up there. They're icons, they're legends. They can say they were a coach on a winning Lions tour. There's so few coaches can say that.
Alan Walters, John Fogarty as well. Could be here for a while if we go through the entire backroom stuff.
It is so hard and so rewarding to go on a Lions tour as being part of the coaching team or the support staff or whatever, but it's the hardest thing you'll do in the game. I'm telling you, in terms of you're down in the team room at sort of 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, you leave there at 7 or 8 at night, in between you've got training sessions, and the medical team and the support staff are all working long hours and stuff, and the players are the ones, and rightly so, they're the ones who earn all the big bucks and the big coins, and
You can't stand there and say that.
No, I wasn't talking about me. I wasn't talking about. What I was talking about is the support staff. You know, the other coaches and the medical team and the masseuses and the backup staff. I mean, they're here, and they're getting paid and to do it, but nothing like anywhere near what the players, and they work their butts off, and so they deserve a huge amount of recognition as well.
It's a really good point, though, that you make around the rigours of touring. And we did hear it once or twice. Jamison Gibson-Park, I think, said it in an interview with you, and I think I heard one or two others saying, touring is really tough. And obviously, Gats, in your day, you did a lot of it, and you just packed up and off you went. But for professional players, how much does it disrupt the rhythm, and how much of a challenge has it been for these guys? And therefore, how much credit do they deserve?
But that's part of it. That's kind of part of the magic of the Lions Tour, that you're packing your bags every couple of days, you're on a flight, you're on a bus, whatever it is, you're sort of, your days off don't really become days off. I remember in 2017, given at Gats, we had our first day off, the Wednesday of the second test week.
That's right. And we were in, I think, 10 different hotels in the first 12 days or something.
So the first sort of 5 weeks, you didn't have a day off, because your days off were your travel days, and then you were back training the following day. So it's just, but that was part of it as well. You know, you pack your bags up, you're in the lift, etc. So for me, that was sort of magic of it, and it's not easy. But bottom line is, it's not easy, and that's why it's so difficult to win Lions Tours as well.
It's harder than what the players go through is harder than the World Cups, because now even Tier 2 nations, you get a week off. You get a week off, you're in one place. This is twice a week, packing up, moving, 60 people, everyone on the shift, go. Train the next day for a game Tuesday. It's, for what these boys go through in the modern era, there's nothing like it in rugby, nothing.
Okay, a couple of quick ones to finish. Pick us a hero of this series who we will be talking around and talking about in 16 years' time.
For a couple of reasons. One, Finn Russell, for the sheer calibre of his playing, but two, his immediate run down from the touchline to give Darcy Graham a hug. And you see both the athlete and the human right there, and understand how tight they are, because that was devastating. Darcy Graham, 16 minutes, and probably would have played tonight.
Yeah.
And he's there, and I think that sums up the character of Finn Russell and this squad.
Great tourist. What about for you?
Speaking of Tadhg, Furlong would be the moment for me. You know, seeing he obviously got his 9th Test cap start in a row. I think he's quietly gone about his business, been physical, done all the good stuff that tight head props should do. And just to hear him speak about the Lions, what it meant to him, understanding that he's probably not going to get to go again, barring a miracle, in 4 years' time. So that was pretty special.
Dan.
I think for me, that almost that first test where Tadhg, Byrne and Tom Curry were sort of under so much pressure for their places and just produced absolutely brilliant performances, and match-winning performances. And for me, sort of, it was just seeing them roll their sleeves up, almost seeing sort of like Andy Farrell's decisions vindicated in terms of test match animals. For me, those two set the bar in terms of physicality in the series.
Very first tackle, isn't it? One makes the tackle, one jackals. Brilliant.
Yeah, long time ago. What about for you, Warren?
Dan Sheehan for me. I just think he is, and the word world class is bandied around too much, but his try scoring ability, his carrying, his line-out throwing. Yeah, look, he missed a couple today in terrible weather conditions, but he's been absolutely set piece. He's quick, he's fast, he gets in the wide channels. I just think he could be an absolute superstar of the game. And there's a chance when these players go back to Ireland and the UK, you know, make sure you promote them. The kids want to be these players. I remember as a young kid running around, and I wanted to be Graham Batty or Brian Williams, you know, all black wingers and stuff. That's what we did when we went to school and threw the ball around. And there's kids back in the UK and Ireland are exactly the same thing. They want to be Murray or Tadhg or, you know, James Lowe or something like that, you know. So just make sure the clubs promote these players as much as they possibly can.
Yeah. None of you mentioned Hugo Keenan. Tough crowd.
And none of us mentioned your outfit this evening.
I was going to say, that's the real winner this evening. $17.
Fail to prepare. You prepare to fail. I've had a lot of abuse for it. I am the driest and the warmest of all of us, except for you, who sat up in the commentary box.